Hey guys, it's Ashley Ray from letstalkraystyle.com bringing you guys another video. Let me tell you, it's been a while, okay? And forgive me because it's just been a lot going on, like in my life personally, professionally. I don't know. So I've written I promise I'm gonna stop touching my hair. So I've written about 3 blogs in the last month, and I haven't done a video for any of them. So this today is my attempt at collectively discussing all 3 of the blogs, and I'm going to go in reverse order because it only makes sense for the other things that I want to tell you. So Learning and Reflecting is one of the blogs that I've recently written, and I came about that blog or topic because I was talking to one of my friends, and we were talking about dating and relationships and basically the experience that each one of those things brought us. And I had a moment where I was like, wow, it's really a beautiful thing when you can spiritually connect with someone. Now, just because you spiritually connect with someone doesn't mean you're meant to be with them, but it is an amazing feeling, and it just lets you know, how open your heart and spirit can be to another human being. And when that person comes along that you feel deserves all of you, you'll be able to connect on that same level, but it'll be deeper. And so it was just a really surreal come-to moment. And I thought it was worth sharing. It's not, it's not a long article or anything, but it's just talking about how we constantly are learning, literally. Even in the worst of situations, a lot of times we don't take the time to just kind of woosah, shall I say, so that you can see what the lesson is in each scenario. A lot of times we're just wrapped up in how we feel and what we want to happen or what we want the outcome to be, instead of realizing that, there are things that you need to learn to take with you on your journey. And that brings me to some of the things that I wanted to talk about in general that don't necessarily relate to any of the blogs. But so I'm having a full circle moment. Last year around this time, I got laid off. I worked for the same place for what would have been 10 years in September of last year, and I got laid off in July. And so I was looking for work, but I was really just gathering myself and trying to pay attention to what I feel like the universe was trying to show me or teach me, or how I can do things better. Excuse me, it's hot, and if you did not know, I love coffee, so let me have a minute for this iced coffee. Sorry. Anyhow, so I felt that was my time to kind of analyze myself and figure out what I really wanted to do, and everything in between. And so I ended up not getting another job because, if you guys didn't know, I'm also an entrepreneur. I always have been. Not only did I write and publish a self-help book, how many years ago was that now? 3 years ago. I also have a business called Business Service Solutions LLC, which has been established in Michigan because that's where I live. And it focuses on business writing, resume writing, cover letters. I perform mock interviews, proposals, business plans. I even have a business plan packet if someone wanted to create their own business plan. But in addition to that, I have come into managing 18 properties. I also do HR consulting with my company because I have a master's in business administration with a focus in human resource management. So I also have been putting together human resource foundations for a small cleaning company. So I said all that to say that I did not get another job last year until November, and I no longer work there. So again, I am having a full circle moment because I am technically unemployed as I was around this time last year. And I can't really say that I'm sad about it because I'm not, but I am trying to figure out, like, should I just should I just stay on my entrepreneurship route? It does seem to be, working. I have steady work. So it's just kind of like, it's not what I'm used to. I'm not used to just being on my entrepreneur mission. I'm used to, having a 9-to-5 and doing my own work for my business. So I'm just trying to figure it out. But then again, I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm actually just letting things be. And so I'm just being led and guided in a way that allows me to be open to all opportunities, and they just keep coming my way. For example, I am putting together a business etiquette presentation right now for the Horatio Williams Foundation, which is a nonprofit in Detroit, Michigan. And it's just like, this is great. Like, I have just had so many opportunities come my way, and I've just been taking advantage of all of them, So sometimes what I always say to myself is, when I don't know what to do, we don't know what's going to happen from day to day. But when I feel that way, I just remain still and focused. And I just let things come to me. And if they feel right, I go with them. And if they don't, I leave them, because all money is not good money. And some people are not even worth the headache as far as working with them. Like, I know everybody's goal is the bag, which it should be to a certain degree. But you have to know all money isn't good money. And sometimes people need services from you, but they're just utterly ridiculous to work with for no reason. Some customers are just difficult customers. Like, that's just their personalities. And then some people literally want to take their problems out on you via a service because they're paying you. And so I'd advise any entrepreneur to never let someone treat you like shit, because why would you even want to do that? Like, well, I don't even want to work with someone who feels like it's okay to talk to people crazy. So anyway, back to the full circle moment. So that situation with, the job thing. But more importantly, I don't know if you guys remember, but last year around this time, exactly 2 days ago to this date, my friend James died in a car accident. And I'm looking at the day like, oh my God, like literally it's in 2 days. Like, it'll be an actual year. And that just puts me in a whole nother, I'm not gonna cry on y'all today, but that just puts me in a whole nother space, and I don't know. Death has a way of, it's final. So it definitely finalizes things, but it definitely puts your life in perspective, like your choices, like time being wasted and things that you should have said or done or whatnot. I always tell people, like, you have to love people when they're here. That's why I try not to stay mad at people for a long time, because you just never know. Like, you can go to sleep mad at somebody and wake up and they're gone. So I really, really do to exercise that, because there are a lot of things that I wish I had have said and done with James and I didn't. And that kind of eats away a part of me. It does. And I'm a very emotional being. Like, Some would say that I'm an empath, so I feel things very deeply. And so when it directly affects me, it can be a shitstorm, like seriously. But anyway, so I am still putting my choices in perspective or whatnot, but I am doing well. And yeah, so you have to know what's working for you and what's not. And I just mean as far as how things make you feel when you're doing them or afterwards. If you do something and while you're doing it, it's a great feeling, like it's great. But then after that, when you go home or when you're by yourself and you think about what you've done, it doesn't bring you that same feel, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. I had to learn that the hard way. Like, you want things that satisfy you all the way around. Nothing should be amazing in one instant, and then when you think about what you've done, it's a shitty feeling. So remember that. All right, so I think that was enough of my reflecting and a mix of learning and reflecting the blog. So next we have Woman to Woman. Now, this drives me crazy. This drives me crazy on social media. This drives me crazy on TV, even though I'm guilty of watching ratchet TV. So don't let the smooth taste fool you. I am not above Love and Hip Hop, okay? Even though it hasn't been real since Chrissy and Jim Jones left. But anyway, so I'd like to say that I'm my sister's keeper. I even try to be my sister's keeper when I know, especially when I know that a certain person or another female does not like me. Like, that's fine. You don't have to like me. But what I'm not going to do is bash you. And what I mean by that is, if you have a product, service, etc., I'm never going to speak poorly upon your business or what you have going on because I personally don't like you. One, that's shady. Two, it's ugly. And three, would you want someone doing that to you? And so I say that to say, we're gonna go to a Real Housewives of Atlanta example. So Nene Leakes, and I don't like Nene, and I'm not apologetic about it. I feel like she has showed us season after season who she is, and that's not gonna change. And she's always been basically a miserable person. So Cynthia Bailey was her best friend, okay? Now, people know that Cynthia will do anything for Nene. Anyway, she was on the Morning Hustle show with L'Oreal. Having an interview, and L'Oreal was asking her, like, is she still cool with all the girls? And she's like, no. So she starts going in on Cynthia, basically saying that she's weak. She's not my friend, blah, 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 blah. Like, first of all, you're on a radio show right now saying this. Like, this is the media. This is exactly what people want. Like, Nene is still going to get her check. Don't get it twisted. Nene does not have to speak negatively about anybody to still get her check. She's still going to get her coins. So my thing is, if this lady was your friend, like you say that she was your friend, why would you be like bashing her to the media? Why would you do that? You can simply say, we're not friends anymore. Next question. Like, what happened to media training? That is something, I swear to God, media training is a lost art. It is a lost art. With social media being involved and then people being able to create their own media, listen, media training is very much so needed, and you can tell who's actually had media training and who has not. Let me tell you who had media training. Megan Thee Stallion has had media training. It is very apparent in how she asks her questions, how she responds to things that she does not like, etc. some celebrities can take a note or two from Megan Thee Stallion's page, okay? Because I just could not believe she did that. So my thing is, if you're saying all of these things about Cynthia right now, you were never her friend. Because you don't have to do all of that. There are people that I am not friends with right now, but if someone asks me about them, I can say, that's not my friend. We're not friends anymore. And I can leave it at that, unless they ask questions, and then I'm going to tell them why that person is not my friend anymore. I'm not going to bash them or their character, because what good does that do, and what difference does it make? That makes you just as bad as that person. You know what I mean? So I feel like we all should be our sister's keeper, and we don't practice that enough. I'm sorry, guys. I'm kind of like readjusting. I have a new tripod, and I'm just trying to figure out if this is working right. I guess we'll figure that shit out after this video. But anyway, so be your sister's keeper. Like, you don't have to bash someone because you're not friends anymore. And I'm not saying that you have to like every single person or every woman that you encounter. No, you don't. But what you should do is respect everyone. You don't have to speak negatively about somebody because you don't like them. Like, why would you even put your energy into a person or persons that you do not like? Why would you do that? Because in my mind, I feel like that's an obsession. Like, oh, you really do want to talk about them, because look how much time and energy like you're putting into the situation or to bash their character. You should never have to go out your way to bash somebody's character. Believe me, if the person has not seen their character, the true character of a person, eventually they will. You won't have to say anything unless it's directly connected to you. If you're directly telling someone a situation that happened between you and another person, that's fine. That's not bashing, and that's not gossiping. That's just telling a story. That's telling your story of what happened. But all the rest of that shit is unnecessary, and it's ugly. Like, I don't even understand why people want to do that. So, listen, I always tell people, come directly to the source. I'm not gonna lie to you. Regardless of what I said, whether I was right or whether I was wrong, I said what I said, and what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. But at the end of the day, you know, when we have TV shows that are constantly showing black women fighting, and I'm not just gonna say black women, because we have Orange County, Real Housewives of Orange County, Real Housewives of New York, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like, basically, you know the show is to get someone riled up so that there can be, an argument and quote unquote cat fights. So I'm not gonna just say that it's black women, but the media likes to project that image of black women always fighting. This is facts, not fiction, okay? So yeah, but in general, those shows show women constantly arguing and fighting with each other. But all I'm saying is keep it cute. You're doing media, you're going on a TV show, whether you're a local artist and you're going on a podcast, or you're coming, somebody could be coming here. I could be interviewing someone. Like, you should be keeping it cute as far as people that you don't like, because you don't want to be shady. And a lot of people use shady comments in order to get attention, right? Because something I learned a long time ago in, studying communication is there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? And people take that overboard. But guess what? It's going to be reported even more if it's like, oh, this reporter or this interviewer tried to trip so-and-so up by asking them this question about this person, and they just kept it cool. Like, this is how you do it. So that's all I'm saying. Don't go off the deep end. Don't take the bait. Like, it's simple bait. Like, it's literally sitting in your face, spelled out, bait, B-A-I-T. Like, why would you go all off into that shit? So, Woman to Woman is about me being tired of seeing black women, me being a black woman in America, seeing this nonsense of going back and forth about stuff. Like, come on. at some point, and the women on Real Housewives of Atlanta are way older than me, and I'm pretty, I'm up there, but not up there. You know what I mean? Like, that just goes to show you that maturity has no age. It really doesn't. It's kind of unfortunate, but it doesn't. So yeah, that's what Woman to Woman is about. And last and certainly not least, women in Congress you should know. So on a previous video, I discussed briefly Ayanna Pressley, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I did not mention Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. So, by the way, Rashida Tlaib's birthday was yesterday. She is a congresswoman. She's a state rep for Michigan, which is where I am. I personally voted for her. And I always say it's the best vote I ever made in my history of voting. So they have Orange Face, which is Donald Trump, because I don't call him president. Like, he's Donald Trump. I really don't know what you people want from me. They have him like really worked up. So apparently, oh, my nail polish is chipping. Oh God, the pressure. So I tried to gear away from politics when Orange Face was elected, right? Like, I was just like, I'm done. I have to disconnect myself at some point because I will drive myself crazy, because like people were saying, he's running the country like Death Row Records, So I had totally disconnected myself from politics, and I just scroll past articles, ignore stats, ignore tweets, anything talking about politics. And then I ran across an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez video. AOC. I'll refer to her as AOC. First of all, let me just tell you that she was a waitress, and she's a politician that got elected literally from grassroots projects. Like, she's totally not what politicians typically are. And I say that in a great way, and like in the best way that she can relate to everyday people who go to work, who are just trying to live, who are just trying to make sure that they can eat every day and take care of their kids or take care of themselves, and she's honest, like brutally honest. So I ran across one of her videos and I was impressed. She was talking about how she rejects the idea that the United States of America can't have free health care. She's like, no, I reject that idea. This is supposed to be one of the wealthiest countries. This is a third world country. Other countries are doing it. Other countries have been doing it. We can do it, period. Okay, so I'm like, okay, like, she was pretty straightforward. So I found some more videos about her, or with her addressing court and other members in Congress. And I'm just like, listen, she is that bitch. Like, and I mean that in the most loving and respectful way. And, we know this is how women talk. But yes, like, I was just like so amazed at how she was just out here kicking ass, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, abandon politics anymore. So I said, well, let me do a little bit more research. So then I found Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, and I already knew about Rashida Tlaib because, again, she is my state rep, and I am in her district, which is 13, and I voted for her. So I was already aware of Rashida's efforts. And then, again, I found Ayanna Pressley and Ilhan Omar. So Ayanna Pressley, she was in court with Ben Carson, sellout 101, okay? Because one of her major initiatives is to ensure that all people have healthy and affordable dwelling places, healthy and affordable homes. And if you did not know, Ben Carson, like, that's his sector. That is what he is responsible for. And if you also didn't know, homelessness is on the rise in the United States. And not only that, but there are a lot of slumlords. Like, there are people literally paying rent to live in places that have intolerable conditions. So Ayanna Pressley is going over like papers maybe about this thick with different highlighted sections about things that she's asking Ben Carson about. And his smug, nonchalant, pompous ass attitude made me want to jump over the table for Ayanna Pressley and punch him in the mouth. Like, are you kidding me? And this is what I mean when I say, like, certain things, people always ask me, like, why won't you get into politics? Listen, because I'm not that polished, and I'm not trying to be. I don't want to be. I don't. I enjoy being able to speak freely. I enjoy being able to code switch when necessary. And I like being able to say what I want, when I want, and however I want to say it, however I want to deliver that message. So politics would never be a thing for me, although I would work behind the scenes, but I wouldn't be a front runner. I would never want to be a mouthpiece for that. But the poise and the integrity and strength and restraints, her resilience behind her words and actions while talking to him, because he was very disrespectful to her. It was very much so a thing of, you know, this black woman trying to challenge me about my job. Like, in one of his responses, he said, you already know the answer to that. I'm not going to answer that. And it was like in a taunting way. And she's like, you know, this is very near and dear to me. This is one of my initiatives, is to, you know, ensure that Americans have decent, tolerable places to live. And so I was just like, wow, like, these women are really out here. And Ilhan Omar, she has been attacked on so many levels. Okay, so Ilhan is a Somali American. Okay, so she became a citizen like 17 or 20 years ago, 17 to 20 years ago, right? Now that's not something that I even care about, really. You know, like, when you got your citizenship, I don't care. But they have been like literally attacking her because she's Muslim, and so is Rashida Tlaib. But I feel like Ilhan gets the most attacks because she wears her turban, or she'll wear her burqa. Like, she is comfortable with who she is. And the first attack that they made on her was about her stating that, how did she pose it? She was basically asking, when did the United States of America start considering what other countries thought about about the policies that they made? And she was talking about Israel. She actually said Israel. Now, don't quote me on that. Like, the way that I said it isn't the way that she said it, but the point is, they tried to make it sound like she was being anti-Semitic, because she's like, well, what does Israel have to do? Like, when did Israel start contributing to what we do in America? Now, if you did not know, the United States of America supports Israel on several things, okay? So her asking that question, first of all, that was a very valid question. Second of all, just because you don't agree with another group of people or another country does not make you anti anything. She's asking a question as a congresswoman, and it's a very valid question, because why in the hell would the United States want to support or listen to a country that constantly bombs Palestinians just because they exist? No other reason other than they exist. Like, you're bombing schools, and this is not a secret. You can go look this up. Like, this is public information. So it's like, the real question is, why are you trying to make a congresswoman out to be anti-Semitic because you're so deep-rooted in Israel, a country that's bombing innocent people and children, literally bombing schools? Like, what is wrong with that picture? So anyway, the media was all over her for that, and I commend her for never backing down on her statement. It was very legitimate. It wasn't anti-Semitic, but you know, they try to play that role because she's a Muslim. So they're trying to make it seem like, oh, you know, she has issues with Jews. She doesn't like Jewish people. And that's not even what it's about. Fast forward. Orange Face tweets that, you know, some of these people in Congress should just go back to their countries. Orange Face, who are you talking about? He was talking about Ilhan, but he was really trying to attack all four of these ladies: Ayanna Pressley, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, who is Pakistani, if you did not know. So I'm just like, are you serious? Like, so they have joined forces, and I'm going to give you another example of why I love Rashida Tlaib. Okay, so before this most recent election, she got kicked out of a meeting, you know, involving Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the speaker, and she actually got kicked out because she called him out on his bullshit and basically said that his ass was a bullshitter and he was a liar and he should not be in office. They literally arrested her and took her out. Not only that, but during the Michael Cohen trial, I forget this guy's name, but he's a member of Congress. Anyway, he's trying to prove that Donald Trump is not racist. So he has this black woman stand up and say, I work for the Trump administration and he is not a racist. And Rashida Tlaib was like, that was a racist act right there for you to pick a black, you know, have a black woman come here to say, oh, Donald Trump isn't racist. So everybody was in an uproar about that, saying that Rashida Tlaib said that, you know, her peer was a racist. And what she said was it was a racist act. And it was a racist act. So what are you saying? You know, they want all of these women, Donald Trump wants these women to back down. And you know what they did? They got together and they're kicking ass. And that's why he's tweeting about them and going crazy. And they are responsible for me reading about politics all over again and actually getting amped up, thinking, even though it may not happen in my lifetime, but I'm hoping that it happens, you know, in my niece's lifetime, or when they start to reproduce in their children's lifetime. But they make me feel like change is actually going to come. And that scares me in a sense, because if you haven't noticed in the history of the United States, when people go against the grain, when they're actually trying to make a change, they assassinate them, i.e. the Kennedy family, you know? And so it makes me nervous for them, but I'm also very proud of them, because not only have they gotten together and now people call them the squad, which I love, and they always post like, you know, support the squad, but they actually support each other on each other's initiatives. So Ayanna Pressley isn't alone in her main initiatives, because she has AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar supporting her in her additional main focuses and goals, and vice versa. And that's very powerful. That's very powerful, because that falls back into my sisterhood conversation. They may not even agree. I'm sure they don't agree on all things, but at the end of the day, they definitely agree that there's so much that needs to be changed, including the removal of Donald Trump, including, you know, children dying in concentration camps that they're holding quote unquote illegal immigrants in. Like, they are literally holding them in fucking jail cells. Like, no clothes, a sheet to sleep on. They're sleeping on floors, not enough food. They're not getting any medical care. Like, they're literally treating them like animals, and a lot of kids have died. And they all actually went to go visit some of the posts so that they can see firsthand what the hell is going on, and so that they can report back. And that's what they did. And, you know, Orange Face is just like all in a fucking uproar about it. And also, there's a Border Patrol group on Facebook, and apparently they photoshopped some pictures of AOC like doing all these sexual acts and passing the shit around like it's funny. And so that takes me back to just women not being respected. Like, it was some very demeaning bullshit, all because they want her to stay out of the situation with the immigrants. And it's like, how can she stay out of it, or why would she want to? Like, that totally defeats the purpose of her being a congresswoman. That totally defeats the purpose of her representing the state of New York. But that's some sexist ass bullshit. And it's like over 500,000 people or something like that in the group. And she recently talked to, what is his name? I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. But she's like, oh, so you knew that these pictures were floating around of me for how long? Who's responsible for them? Because everybody, like, what are they doing right now? Those who share them in the group and those who reposted them, they all should be fired. They shouldn't be on an administrative leave. They should be fired. Because that, one, that's distributing pornography. Two, that's totally disrespectful to a member of Congress. Like, this is a state rep. Are you kidding me? But this just goes to show you how people really think, how people really feel, and why there's such a resistance to real actual change. Because a lot of people really don't even want that. They don't want that. They're comfortable with the lives that they live, because the things that affect other people, the things that affect Black people, the things that affect Latinas and Latinos don't affect them. So they don't care. They're fine with their place in society because, hey, it was built for them. So you just have to keep all of that in mind. And if you don't know who these ladies are, again, it's called the blog is called Women in Congress That You Should Know. You really should go ahead and take the time and look them up for yourselves. I'll actually list their names below in the description box, along with the links to all of the blogs that I discussed today. So, thank you all. I had to decompress because I get worked up, if you didn't notice, when I'm not worked up, but I'm just passionate about a lot of the things that I write about. And you know, I get into it, as you should. You should be passionate about anything that you do. And that is why my content is the way that it is, because I have to be comfortable with the things that I report and the things that I talk about and the things that I write about. Like, I hold myself accountable for a lot. And I consider myself to be, you know, a person of media. I consider myself to be a journalist. So with that being said, I have to be responsible for the messages that I put out, no matter how big or small my audience may be. You know, you have to be responsible. So I have to feel comfortable with the things that I talk about. And the only way I can feel comfortable with the things that I discuss is if I am passionate about it. And so I'm passionate about everything that I discussed today. I'm passionate about learning and reflecting on myself in life. I'm passionate about change within the United States. That's why I wrote about the women in Congress, because they are the ones, those four. And of course, Auntie Maxine, but she doesn't count because Auntie Maxine has been at this game for a long time and we all know her. But these four ladies, I really feel like are going to do something great. They're already doing things great. They have people talking about them, and they're talking about the important topics that matter to people. And so that helps change the dynamic somewhat of politics. And of course, woman to woman, I am my sister's keeper, as I should be, as we all should be. Actually, whether you're a man or a woman, you should be your sister's keeper. Because if you're a guy, we're all connected. So you're my brother and I'm your sister. So you should be your sister's keeper as well. You don't let people just fly off the handle saying any old thing, I appreciate you guys watching. This shirt says pretty and powerful. I'll also post the link where you can purchase this shirt if you all like. I love it. Purchase it for your girlfriend, purchase it for yourself, purchase it for someone as a birthday gift. My birthday's coming up, actually. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Smooches.